Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
It's the monster from the swamps, Regis Rougarou Prograis.
Hey, what's up? This is King Carlos Molina, former IBF world champ.
This is Michael, the Bounty Hunter, 2012 Olympian and your people's champ.
This is Charlie Edwards, flyweight champion of the world.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 249 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host Joey Coastman, riding solo this week, just me, myself and I this week. Of course we will be bringing in the interview later on, which will be with the former WBC Light-Heavyweight world champion Mr. Montell Griffin, where Montell will be talking about various things, including of course his boxing career, in which he goes into great detail on many fights, including those 2 fights against James Toney, those 2 fights against Roy Jones Jr. He tells a lot of kind of behind the scenes type stories about many of his fights. He talks about the night he gave away 17 pounds at the weigh-in, or the day I should say he gave away 17 pounds at the weigh-in when he fought a guy called Ross the Boss Thompson. That's not on fight night, that's at the weigh-in. 17 pounds. They were literally weight classes apart. He also talks about becoming a sheriff and then getting suspended from his job for, in his opinion, unfair circumstances. And, he's got a book out now called The Ice Life, which is a fantastic book. You should definitely go and purchase that online or whatever if you like the interview. And, Montell, he's got a great story. He began boxing at 12 years of age. I think he quit boxing for 7 or 8 years. He came back, had a brief but very impressive amateur career in which he beat a future heavyweight world champion, and then of course he went on to have a very, very interesting pro career. One thing I will say, the actual interview itself is a little bit echoey on his end. A few technical issues this week, so there's a bit of an echo there, but it's still very listenable. I hope you all check it out, like I say, at the end of the review and preview and news segments this week. Please check it out. Let us know if it's okay to listen to, if it's listenable. There's a slight echo, but after about 2 minutes you won't even notice it, I don't think. So check that one out, please. Before we get into that, of course, we're going to talk about the review and preview segments. We're going to start with the review segment. As always, we're going to start here with a card that took place a week ago today, last Thursday at the Bubble in the MGM Grand, Las Vegas, the 16th of July. Topping the bill, Felix Verdejo, 27-1 now, a TKO for him in the first round against Will Madeira, the undefeated Will Madeira, now 15-1 with 3 draws though. He has that loss now, has his O taken away there. Also on the undercard, Jared Anderson, the heavyweight, only 20 years of age. I think he's about 6'4", 6'5". Nice guy, likable guy. 5-0 now, 4 first round KOs. Another one here. TKO in the first round against Hector Perez, who's now 7-3. Definitely one to watch for the future, Jared Anderson, also known as Big Baby. Moving out now to Magdeburg in Saxon-Anhalt, Germany. Ajit Kabayel, now 20-0. This one was for the vacant WBA Continental Heavyweight title against Evgenios Lazaridis. Haven't seen the fight, but it was a 10-round unanimous decision there for Ajit Kabayel. Like I say, now 20-0. Lazaridis 16-3. Didn't actually watch the fight, but from what I've heard, Kabayel didn't look overly impressive. Obviously, former European champion. Many, many big fights for him. Still quite a young guy. I think he's about 27, 28. So I want to see him in those big fights. Good fighter, Kabayel. Holds that win over Derek Chisora. Moving out now to the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds in Iowa, USA. Strange one. We don't normally talk about any other fights, aside from boxing, but we have to bring this one up. A UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich. I've never really heard of him, I have to say that. I'm not a UFC fan, I'm not an MMA guy, I'm a boxing guy through and through. Pat Miletich, 52 years of age, got in the ring against Michael Nunn, the former world champion, the former boxing world champion, 57 years of age. I think Michael Nunn's only been out of prison for about a year, maybe not even that long actually. Michael Nunn hadn't had a professional boxing match for, I think it was over 18 years. He returned to the ring with a split decision win over 4 rounds, and that was kickboxing. So credit to Michael Nunn, who weighed 190 pounds. That's crazy. Anyways, all the best to Michael Nunn, 57 years of age. That's it for that. Moving out now to the final card to review at the Bubble again, the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, Tuesday, so just 2 days ago. Let's start with the undercard. Isaac Dogboe, friend of the show, opened up the card. Obviously now working with a new trainer. Dogboe had a big round in the 4th round. He hurt his opponent Chris Avalos to the body a few times. He seemed to be hitting Avalos too often at that point. He started to pick up the pace a little bit. It looked like the writing was on the wall at that point after that 4th round, despite the earlier rounds not really being overly dominant. Dogboe, at times he looked a little bit one-dimensional, I'd even say, in the first 1, 2, 3 rounds, but he was working his jab more often than usual. Round 5, Dogboe had a point deducted for a low blow. I just have to say, definitely for me, he's just too small for this weight. Obviously a former super bantamweight world champion. He's moved up to featherweight. I don't feel like moving up was the right answer. Perhaps Navarrete just had his number. He's so much bigger than him at 122. And obviously Chris Avalos is, very much a gatekeeper really at 126. It was the perfect kind of testing the water type fight, really. Obviously, Avalos been knocked out in 5 rounds by Frampton and Oscar Valdez. I think he went 8 rounds with Leo Santa Cruz. Mark Magsayo knocked him out in 6 rounds. It was only an 8-rounder. He almost ended up surviving the distance, Avalos, and Dogboe got him out there. Had him down twice, I believe it was, and he got the stoppage with only 32 seconds left. I think he had him down twice, not 100% sure. Was it once or twice? Can't remember now. But anyway, 32 seconds left in the fight. I would have liked to see it really go the distance, But yeah, not overly impressive all in all, really. I was really looking forward to see Dogboe back in action. Like I say, friend of the show. Brilliant guy, love Dogboe to bits. Really excited to see him return to the ring, obviously for the first time after those back-to-back defeats to Navarrete, but it didn't leave me really wanting more. I'm not super looking forward to his next fight or anything like that. I just hope it's a quick turnaround and we see him go up in level again pretty soon, because like I say, that wasn't the best fight there for him. He's a lot better than that. He's got a lot of of good tools and stuff like that. He's a great guy, great human being, great fighter. But I just don't think 126 is his weight class, to be completely honest. Also on the bill, we got to see Edgar Berlanga, who was 13-0 with 13 knockouts, all in the first round. He took on Eric Moon, who was 11-2. A lot of people were looking forward to this fight. They felt like Eric Moon could be the guy to take Berlanga into the second round for the first time in his pro career. Well, it wasn't to be. It only took him 60 seconds to get rid of Eric Moon, so Berlanga's now 14-0 with 14 first round knockouts. Just unbelievable. He's approaching Edwin Valero's record, which was 18 first round KOs from his debut up to his 18 first pro fights. He won all of them in the first round. Really bright future Edgar Berlanga has. And the main event, of course, Oscar Valdez, now 28-0. He took on Jason Velez, a tough guy, Jason Velez. He'd never been stopped up until Tuesday night. He was stopped for the first time in his career in the final round, obviously, of the 10-rounder. Again, didn't really catch fire, the fight. until Valdez dropped Velez, and Velez hadn't actually been down for about 7 years prior to that, I believe. Obviously, like I say, never been stopped. It was a big left hook that Valdez landed to put Velez down in that 5th round, and again, Valdez, like Dogbay, he's given away a lot of height advantages to his opponents now. That's just the way it's going to be, though, for him and Dogbay, because they've moved up in weight and they weren't really tall for their previous weight class, so that's just what it's going to be. But in the end, Valdez put Velez down twice in the final round and Tony Weeks waved it off. So being the first man to stop Velez, I suppose in retrospect, is a big win. It's a big statement there. At his kind of new weight, Valdez, I think he's had one fight at that weight perhaps already, I think. So big fights for him. I think he's eyeing up the All-Mexican showdown with Miguel Berchelt, although I don't think that's a wise move for him. Getting on now to the preview part of the show, the bubble at the MGM Grand. They've been putting on shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays pretty much every week. They're taking a rest this Thursday, so there's going to be no action on Thursday, no action today or later today. There is action, though, tomorrow night at the Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California. On the undercard, we get to see Shane Mosley Jr., 15-3, take on Jeremy Ramos, who's 11-8. Also on the bill, friend of the show, Hector Tanahara, the undefeated prospect, 19-0. This one's for the WBC United States lightweight title against Masito Gesta. Not a mug, Masito Gesta. 32-3 with 3 draws. Been the distance against Jorge Linares for Linares' WBA world title back in 2018. That's really his kind of claim to fame, if you like. But good fighter. He's been the distance again in a world title fight against Miguel Vasquez. So a 2-time world title challenger. He's got so much more experience than Hector Tanahara, and it's a huge step up for Tanahara. I hope he's ready for that one. Really, really big fight there. And topping the bill, of course, Virgil Ortiz Jr., 15-0 with 15 KOs. He takes on Samuel Vargas, 31-5 with 2 draws. Vargas, biggest fight of recent years would be the loss to Amir Khan in 2018, when Amir Khan had that kind of homecoming in Birmingham, and it was a fight where Khan, was on the deck again. He had him down in the 2nd round, Vargas. A little bit of a danger man, I suppose. He's been around the block. He's boxed various different guys, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, Louis Collazo, guys like that, all losses, but I wish him all the best. He's trained by Bones Adams, who's a friend of the show, really, really nice guy. Also, is there anything else that evening? Tomorrow evening? I don't think so. We move to Saturday. Saturday we get to see a card that takes place in Mexico. Good friend of mine, of course, former IBF light middleweight world champion Carlos Molina. 32-11 with 2 draws, his record. He's in a 10-rounder against Abraham Juarez, who's 16-5. Both men in their recent couple fights have boxed the undefeated Abbas Barao from Germany. They both boxed him, both lost to him. In my opinion, Carlos Molina didn't deserve to lose that fight, but that's another story. But Carlos Molina's back here. He's fighting and promoting that card there. There's also 4 fights on the undercard, all decent fights, so check that one out. I think it's on Fight TV, which is an app. I've already downloaded it on my phone. Top Rank put out their stuff on that app as well. Throughout this pandemic, I think you can buy this event, Carlos Molina's event. It's on Saturday night, so check that one out. And also in the UK, of course, we get to see at the BT Sports Studio, Joe Joyce topping the bill, 10-0. He's in a 10-rounder against Michael Wallisch of Germany. Michael Wallisch has a record of 20-3. However, those 3 losses have came in his last 4 fights. He lost by KO in 5 rounds to Christian Hammer, then in 2 rounds to Efia Jagba. He came back with a win against a journeyman, then he came back and lost his last fight in 3 rounds to Tony Yoka. So I don't expect Joe Joyce to have much trouble with Michael Wallisch. Also on the undercard, a good fight between Chris Bourque and Ramez Mahmoud for the vacant Southern Area Super Bantamweight title. Bourque 7-0, Mahmoud 11-0. Someone's must go there. Also Denzel Bentley on the undercard as well. A couple decent fights on the undercard, I suppose. Yeah, that's it for Saturday. Nothing on the Sunday, nothing on the Monday or the Tuesday. So that really brings us to the end of the preview part. There's a lot to mention in terms of news. Some cracking fights that PBC have announced this week. PBC, all their fights that they're going to be showing of what I'm about to read will all be taking place, I believe, on Showtime in the States. But before we get onto that, couple pieces of news to mention. Aside from that, we're going to start here with the fact that Chantel Cameron has signed a promotional contract with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Sport. Probably the best place for her to go if she wants that fight against Katie Taylor, which I would love to see that fight take place, by the way. Really, really good fight, that one. She is signed with Matchroom. It's a good move. Hasn't really had it easy, to be completely honest, Chantel Cameron, so I wish her all the best with that move there. Brilliant stage for her as well. Other than that, there's another piece of news I should mention as well. The fight that was supposed to headline on August 15th in Oklahoma, the Matchroom USA card. We were supposed to get to see Julio Cesar Martinez defend his WBC World Flyweight title against McWilliams Arroyo, but Julio Cesar Martinez has been forced out of that fight because he tested positive for COVID-19. Instead, Cecilia Brackhouse and her opponent, the unified super lightweight world champion Jessica McCaskill, now headline that event there, so big platform for them. And also a fight has been added to the undercard. Israel Madrimov takes on Eric Walker. Again, that's Saturday, August 15th in Oklahoma. And here's the big Showtime PBC announcement. I'm going to read out all the main events. August the 1st, Stephen Fulton Jr., 18-0, takes on Angelo Leo, who's 19-0. Brilliant fight there. David Benavidez takes on Roma Alexis Angulo. People will remember him. He's the guy that took Anthony Sims Jr.'s that should be a good fight. August 15th, that one. September 19th, Erickson Lubin against Terrell Gausha. Both men have one defeat on their slate, and it's both in world title fights. So both men there looking to get a foothold back at that top level at the 154 or in the 154 division. All the best to both guys there. I'd like to see Terrell Gausha have some luck, actually. On September 26th, both the Charlo twins are on the same card. I'm going to start here with Jamal Charlo. He defends his world title against Sergei Derevianchenko. What a fight that is. Absolutely brilliant fight. Derevianchenko, 13-2. Of course, those two losses were very close points losses to Daniel Jacobs and Triple G Gennady Golovkin. So this is a big test for Jamal. And again, like I say, on that same card, Jamel Charlo defends his world title against Jason Rosario, who defends his world title. That's a unification there. Rosario obviously knocked out Julian Williams in his homecoming in Philadelphia. So that's a brilliant fight. This puts us into October 10th, where we get to see Sergei Lipinets, former world champion at 140, take on Quadratilo Abdukakarov, who is 15-0. Very good amateur was he, so that should be interesting. October 24th, Gervonta Davis against Leo Santa Cruz. I've wanted Leo Santa Cruz to get a big fight for a long time. Gervonta Davis, I've wanted to see him in the big fights for a long time. You know, Leo Santa Cruz has been talking about fighting Jamel Herring. He's been talking about fighting Carl Frampton. He's been talking about fighting all these names for a long time. And, this fight for me has kind of made it worth the wait. Same for Gervonta Davis. I wanted to see him take on Ryan Garcia. I wanted to see him take on Tevin Farmer. Those fights never ended up happening, but they get it on. They're both kind of in the same position where they need a big fight now. It's been too long without a big fight. Even though Gervonta in his last fight beat Gamboa, You know, this is the big fight I feel like his career needs at this stage. The weird thing is, it's at super featherweight. It's for Leo Santa Cruz's WBA super featherweight world title, and it's also for Gervonta Davis' WBA lightweight world title, which is totally bizarre from the WBA. It's never been done before. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But you know, the winner becomes they win 2 belts at 2 different weight classes without fighting at 2 different weight classes. I don't think Leo Santa Cruz has ever even had a fight at lightweight, so he could become lightweight world champion without even fighting at the weight. It's very strange. I don't really want to get into that because it's just crazy. Makes absolutely no sense. What are these sanctioning bodies doing? Makes no sense at all. But yeah, I'm just excited about that fight. I'm pumped for that fight. Also, we get to see on November 28th, Chris Colbert against Jaime Arboleda. That should be a good fight there. And that one, by the way, is for the interim world title. And December the 12th, Nordin Ubali, 17-0, 12 KOs. The WBC Bantamweight world champion takes on Nonito Donaire, the living legend himself. Nonito Donaire, arguably the nicest man in boxing. Donaire, I'm really pleased to see him staying at bantamweight because he looked quite good there. You know, he gave Inoue a brilliant fight. He looked good there in the other fights he had in the World Boxing Super Series. You know, he seems like he's rejuvenated at bantamweight. I'm so pleased to see him stick around there. It goes to show that he wasn't just hanging around and dieting like crazy for the money, for the World Boxing Super Series money. He's fighting Ubali here. Wouldn't imagine he's making a ton of money, but all the best to Donaire. I really hope he can become a champion once again. I'm not even sure how many titles he's got in his display cabinet at home. You know, he is a total legend. Hopefully we'll get him back on the show within the next few weeks or something, and that's going to be such a good fight. I'm really, really pleased to see that get made. And that's it, though, for the review part. That's it for the preview part, and that is it for the news. Just before I bring in the sole guest on this week's podcast, obviously the former WBC Light-Heavyweight World Champion Montell Griffin, I just want to say once again, I apologise in advance for the echoing. You will hear it. It will probably take about 2 minutes to get used to. I hope it's listenable. Please, 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 if you do listen to it, just give me some feedback afterwards. Just let me know if it was okay or if there's anything you couldn't understand. Like I say, I apologise in advance once again. I've had a lot of technical issues this week, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you can enjoy it. But yeah, with no further ado, I'm going to bring in our sole guest on this week's podcast right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former WBC Light-Heavyweight World Champion. It is, of course, Mr. Montell Griffin. Montell, welcome to the show, my friend.
How you doing? Thanks for having me, man. It's an honor and pleasure.
It's an honor and a pleasure from me also. I want to start with this, Montell, before we get into the boxing side of it. What was your upbringing like? Obviously, born and raised in Chicago. I'm from the UK. We don't hear the most pleasant things about that area. But just tell me, what was it like growing up as a kid, born and raised, like I say, in that part of the world?
Well, you know, Chicago get a bad rap now. I've never seen. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I've never seen nobody get shot. I've never seen no violence. I've never seen nobody get murdered in front of my eyes. I know, you know what I'm saying, we're the murder capital, you know, a few years ago, and we're not doing good right now. But as a kid, I just, you know, I was raised. I went to the gym every day with my father, and I actually would go out on the streets and just walk around and meet friends. So, you know, the gym wasn't in the greatest neighborhood in the world either, on 63rd Street. I would go outside, walk around, go to the park, and meet friends. And then when we moved to the west side, I did the same thing. My father was like, man, you got a lot of heart, so you want to, you know, take a chance on going outside. So, I mean, I never really was scared to, you know, Chicago, nothing like that. I still think it's a little blown out of proportion. It's just like certain neighborhoods where violence is, but Chicago is a great city.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to ask you this as well, a typical kind of opening question when we get onto the boxing. Where did it all begin for you? What's your earliest boxing memory, perhaps the first time you put on a pair of gloves?
I mean, I can't even remember that. I was in the gym at 1-2 years old. My father started taking my brother to learn boxing for self-defense in 71. He bought the gym in 73, so I was in the gym my whole life. So that's all I know. I don't remember. I was so young, I don't remember the first time I put on gloves.
Okay. Obviously, as an amateur, you had, if I'm not mistaken, only 41 fights, which isn't really that many. But in your amateur career, you actually beat future heavyweight world champion John Ruiz. Was that the highlight moment of the amateurs, Montell?
No, I mean, at that time, I mean, John Ruiz ended up becoming heavyweight champ, but I mean, Jeremy Williams was a superstar in amateur boxing at that time. I actually had, I learned how to box as a kid. I quit when I was 12, and I came back. I had 33 fights. So I made the limit team with 30 amateur fights. And I don't think I lost the fight. I lost to Jeremy twice. I thought I won both fights. Everybody thought I did. And then I lost, in Torsimine in the Olympics, and everybody thought I won that fight. So really, I really was undefeated as an amateur. And like I said, I only had 33 amateur fights before I turned pro.
Oh, wow, that's amazing, man. So getting on to your pro career, it all began February 16th, 1993, on a Bernard Hopkins undercard in Colorado. Do you remember much about your debut, second round KO?
Well, a couple of my teammates fought on the card. Eric Griffin, I think, Sergio Reyes. I know Stevie Johnson fought that night. A lot of my friends fought that night, so it was pretty cool to fight my pro debut. And I actually ran into a buddy of mine, Ricardo Muhammad, who I hadn't seen since my father died at 12 years old. He came to the fight, and he got back into my life, and he did a lot of PR work for me. But, I always wanted to fight Bernard Hopkins because I fought my pro debut on undercard, but it never did work out.
Yeah.
I just thought that his style was made for that.
Okay, but I mean, even early on as a professional, you didn't really have it easy on the come up. I remember in your 7th fight, you were 6-0. You boxed undefeated KD King at that stage, who of course went on to challenge for a world title himself. So that was a tough one early on. But let's fast forward to Monday, September 12th, 1994. You're 13-0 at this point. You boxed Ray Lathon, who was 14-0. The fight took place at the Great Western Forum in California. You beat him unanimously over 12 rounds. You had him down in round 2, but you were down yourself in round 4. What do you recall of that fight there, Montell?
First I want to say I want to give a shout out and respect to Ray Lathon, who passed away. But Ray Lathon was the hardest puncher I've ever been in the ring with in my life. I sparred over 5 heavyweight champions of the world, and Ray Lathon hit harder than anybody ever been in the ring with. He caught me early in the first round, and I knew that he was a dangerous man, so I changed my game plan. I went for a knockout, and I had him out. I actually thought he got counted out, but the bell rang, and they gave him a second chance. And then I got a little overconfident. He caught me and dropped me. So it just got me back. I was more embarrassed than anything because my future wife was there. So I was more embarrassed, but I got up, took care of business, and won the fight.
Yeah, you certainly did, and of course, you mentioned there, he ended up finishing his career with a record of 23-1. That one loss, of course, coming to you, and then he was murdered in 2000. 5 months after that fight, you're in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand, boxing former 2-weight world champion at the time, James Toney. James was coming off his loss to Roy Jones at the time. He'd obviously moved up in weight to fight you. Tell me, Montell, you must have been expected to lose that fight, but of course you came out the victor.
Well, I mean, I've been an underdog my whole career. I think because of my height, 5'7", and the things I did was just nobody could believe I did. Like I said, I made an Olympic team with 30 amateur fights, and I fought James Toney with 14 pro fights. So I had sparred James in 1992 when I was an amateur, and it was like tit for tat. So 3 years later, when I got the phone call, they offered me to fight. I said, well, up the money a little bit, I'll take it. So they did that. I fought on HBO, and, I'm not here to say that I outskilled James Toney. Now, I actually just outworked him. But the first time, I just thought I out-hustled him and I worked him. All 3 judges gave me the last 3 rounds on every scorecard. And then, we fought a rematch. But, yeah, 95, I felt comfortable going in the fight.
Yeah, and, you won, of course, a majority decision over 12 rounds. But this is what I love. You beat a great fighter like James Toney at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. 4 months later, when your next fight took place, it happens at York Hall, which is pretty much the home of British boxing. It's, it's where so many fighters from the UK came up. What was it like from an American perspective to box in a place like York Hall?
I was supposed to sign with Frank Maloney out the Olympics, so they flew me to London in '92. Me and Robert Allen, we hung out, so that was the first time I went. And then, I signed with Panos Iliade, so he's my promoter. So me and Lennox had the same promoter, so I fought in London 3 times. And I got great memories. Nice city. It reminded me of New York. And, what I'm saying, there's a great opportunity.
Yeah, like I say, York Hall's got so much history over here, and you're one of the, the good fighters, the great fighters that box there. After that James Toney fight, like I say, you boxed 3 times in London, and 7 times back in the States. So 10 fights you had, 10 all wins, all by knockout before that James Toney rematch came around. The fight took place in Reno, 1996, December the 6th. You won again this time, even wider on points than the first time. Tell us about it. Another unanimous, this time unanimous over 12 rounds.
Well, the second fight, even though it was only a year apart, it was like 2 years. Because I think I fought him February 95, and I fought him December 96. So basically, it was like 2 years. We both had 10 fights apiece. My confidence is up, and I was waiting for the rematch. The money was good and everything, and I just went in there, and I just showed how much better I got in 2 years. I beat him, in unanimous decision.
And then only 3 months later, you were back in Atlantic City at the Taj Mahal Hotel and Casino when you challenged Roy Jones Jr. for his WBC Light-Heavyweight world title. At the time, he's 34-0, you're 26-0. The fight ends in round 9 when Roy was disqualified. Tell us about that night there, because, people can say what they want, but I've rewatched it numerous times now in the lead up to this interview. But, when you fell face first. That was... it didn't look like you had much control over yourself at that point. But just tell us about the fight from your perspective.
I thought I was winning the fight easy. Early in the fight, he got credited with a knockdown that he really didn't deserve. He knew he didn't hit me. He didn't even jump out on me after I got the 8 count. So that was 2 points that I was, down. And I just did what I brought it to him. I put the pressure on him. I fought when he didn't want to fight. I hit him with some great counter shots. I was winning the fight. And in the 9th round, it was a split-second situation. The guy threw a right hand, and I was going to either block it or roll it. And I ended up trying to roll it, and he hit me in the back of the head. So I was a little dizzy. So I just told myself, I said, Montell, you winning this fight. Just take a knee, and let's just win these last 3 rounds. And I tried the referee's count, and he walked up to me, and he hit me the first time, and he loaded up the second time. And idiot fans, I had the nerve to say that I was faking. And it's crazy. It was just a dirty punch. Roy apologized. I accepted his apology. I gave him a rematch and everything, but it's crazy. I actually, a few months ago, I told Roy, I said, your fans love you so much that you hit me, but they hate me, but you hit me.
Yeah, that is crazy. No, but
it's crazy. Roy Jones fans hate me because I took away his, his undefeated streak and everything. But you know what I'm saying? He did something that was dirty, and I don't know how people look at it.
Well, I'd argue and say that you didn't take it away. He pretty much threw it away himself, to be completely honest with you, Montell.
That's what I'm saying. He was frustrated.
Yeah, and he did load up with that second shot. You
loaded up.
You even had your glove. You even had your glove on the canvas at the time as well.
I'm just glad. I thank God that I didn't lose consciousness and I didn't get killed. That was very dirty, and I could have got hurt.
Yeah, and like you say, it wasn't just one shot; it was 2 clean shots while you were clear.
Hey, loaded up. Yeah. Loaded up with the second one.
Now, I know that you, of course, wouldn't have wanted to win a world title in that way. You'd have much rather knocked Roy out.
I was beating him fair and square, so why would I care about disqualification when I was beating him?
Yeah. But did you feel satisfied being a champion, though, in that way, Montell? Because, again, you felt you were winning the fight, but for it to end like that, like I say, not the way you would have wanted to become champion, did you feel within yourself like a worthy world champion, or was it a tough time?
You know what happened? After the fight, I got in the car with my wife, and I said, man, I did not want to win like this. And I kept my head down. I didn't feel like a champion. And I went to the WBC. The WBA had a convention going on during the fight in Atlantic City, and all the champs walked up to me and said, look, man, he did that because he was frustrated and mad for what you were doing to him. He said, you the champ. And Mills Lane also said it to me. So after I went to the WBA convention, and I felt a little bit better about myself.
Yeah, good for you, my friend. And, to your credit, you gave him that immediate rematch. The fight took place in Connecticut, August 7th, 1997. In the rematch, of course, Roy was able to win his title back with a first-round KO. What do you recall of that Thursday night at the Foxwoods Resort? I've got to say, you did land some brilliant shots yourself in that first round. But, the left hand he landed to finish the fight was right on the button. It was pretty much a perfect punch.
The second fight, bro, I don't have to make no excuses. I got it out of a guy in Roy's camp. I ain't gonna say his name. A guy in Roy's camp told me that they forced me to come out and didn't let me warm up. I didn't warm up 5 minutes for that fight. Like I said, one of Roy's camp members told me 20 years later, like, man, we rushed you out there, we got you, and we did it on purpose, and your manager and promoter knew about it. So that was just, real hard to take.
Dirty things happen in boxing all the time, it seems. Just 3 months after that, you're back to winning ways. You boxed 3 times at the Orleans Hotel in Vegas. You won all 3 fights. You then won your next 4 fights, all by KO, before boxing the undefeated future world title challenger Eric Harding in Miami Friday the 13th, and it did prove to be a bad luck night for yourself. A split decision loss over 12 rounds. Do you feel like the right outcome happened there for you, Montell?
Of course not. The commentators on TV on Fox said Montell Griffin won 12, if not 11 rounds. Eric Harding ran like a girl the whole fight. He did not hit me. He did not do nothing. He did not deserve the fight. And a few years later, I found out why I lost. And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. After that, you put together a 4-fight win streak, all by knockout within 5 rounds. A brilliant streak before getting another shot at a world title, this time for the WBO Light-Heavyweight world title against the champion at the time, Dariusz Michalczewski. Now, on this occasion, you were stopped in the 4th round. Just tell us about that one. You had to travel to Germany as well, Montell.
Well, all you got to do is watch the video of the tape. I dominated the man the first 3 rounds of the fight. I dominated him. And in the 4th round, it was 10 seconds ago, he threw a flurry. I hit him back, and I saw Joe Cortez run over there, and I thought he was breaking up the fight because the bell rung. He was stopping the fight. I never got knocked down. I never got hurt. I never got rocked. And it's on video. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy. I was dominating Mr. Chelsea in Germany, and they didn't want me to win, so they stopped the fight.
Yeah, this period of your career, it seemed like you went through.
But the thing is, I'm telling y'all right now, all you can do is video after it's proof.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you watch the second Roy Jones fight, the commentators said Roy has never started this fast in his career because he knew I wasn't warmed up. I mean, it's just blatant facts. But you know what I'm saying? It's been over 20 years ago. I don't even worry about it right now. But if you want to know the truth, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
No, I respect that, my friend. And 8 months after that, you're back on the road. You pick up a win over Jose Rivera in China. I think Layla Ali was on the undercard that night. Tell us about traveling to China. Must have been crazy.
Well, it was a great experience. I remember Layla when she came home from the hospital when she was a baby. I used to hang with her sister. I spent a lot of time with her sister Hannah at Ali's camp, and it was a great experience to go to China and fight on the same card with Layla Ali and Andrew Galata. The only thing I was upset about is because both of their opponents, they both had easy fights, but I had a war. So I was like, how did that work out?
No, good win for you that night, and that win in China was...
That was the first title fight in China history.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool, man.
A lot of people didn't know that. They say I should have got a Medal of Honor, but I didn't get it.
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
I didn't get a lot of things I was supposed to get, so I'm used to it.
And that win in China, though, was the first of a 6-fight win streak that lasted 3 years and earned you another attempt at a world title, this time for 2 world titles, in fact, the IBF and WBC titles against Antonio Tarver. April 26th, 2003, back at the Foxwoods Resort. Tell us about that one, Montell.
Well, early in the fight in the first round, we got our feet mixed up. I threw a left hook. My back was turned to him. I thought the referee was going to yell break. And Tarver, caught the opportunity. He hit me. He hit me in the back of the head. And I was knocked out in the first round. I had a concussion. And when I went back to the corner, the ring card had round number 6. So it was kind of crazy. I remember round 1, round 6, round 9, and round 11. I remember 4 rounds of a 12-round fight, and I went the distance. So I'm proud of myself to go the distance with a great fight like that with a concussion.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. After that fight, you were out the ring for, I think it was just over a year. What kept you out the ring for that long, Montell?
Well, Al Hammond, he was my manager, my advisor. Yeah. And he ended up signing Tarver and just basically keep me to the curb. So he started working with Tarver. I was still signed with him. And I just sat around for a year. He got me a fight for some peanuts. Then I fought Julio Gonzalez in his backyard. You know what I'm saying? I fought Al Hammond's fight, Rico Hoy in his backyard. Then Julio Gonzalez in his backyard. Both fights was losses, and both of them was technicalities. I played with Rico Hoy. Eric Harden and Rico Hoy, those 2 fights were the easiest 2 fights I ever fought in my life to go 12 rounds and I lost. So you tell me.
Well, that answers my next question. I was going to ask you about that Rico Hoy fight. Obviously,
all you gotta do is watch the fight, and you'll see that there's no way I lost.
Yeah, another strange split decision that you were involved in.
Crazy, and I lost. 5 of my 8 losses was in guys' hometown. I just leave it at that.
Yeah, I know what that means. And after that fight, you pick up a win over Sam Reese. That I want to talk about that Julio Gonzalez fight. Obviously, a former WBO world champion himself. In fact, no, you kind of answered that there. Yeah, obviously it ended in a technical decision after 6.
After the Rico Hoy fight, Al Hammond come back with a fight against a guy in his hometown in California. I said, man, you got to be joking. I took the fight because I had to. The man headbutted me about 7 times. I was bleeding. I should have just told him I couldn't see after the 3rd round, so I wouldn't have to, so it wouldn't have been an official fight because it was some old backstab and stuff. I lost in the technicality because he was cut. I was headbutted 7 times, and I was bleeding. And then as soon as he get cut, they stopped the fight. So it just happened in my whole career.
After the Gonzalez fight, obviously you get the win against Norman Jones for the vacant USBA title before getting the shot at former IBF Light-Heavyweight world champion Glen Johnson. Tell us about that one. Hollywood, May 16th, 2007.
Well, Glen Johnson is a great fighter, but it just sometimes he see stuff and it just don't seem right. I saw Glen Johnson fight Derek Harmon. I saw him fight Bernard Hopkins, and he looked like a regular guy. Then I fight him, and he's 2 years older than me. I'm 37, he's 39, and every round he's getting stronger and stronger. And after the fight, I went in his dressing room and asked him what he found the pound of youth at. I looked him right in his eyes, and he looked down to the floor. That let me know what was going on. That let me know the deal. That's a true story. I went in his dressing room and asked him where he found the pound of youth at, and he put his head down.
Yeah. after that, you take a year out before returning against Corey Cummins. You got the win over him unanimously over 10 rounds. That's when the fight takes place with the undefeated 5-0 future 2-weight world champion Bebuit Shumenov. Again, you had to travel. You traveled all over the place in your career.
Another hometown loss.
Kazakhstan.
I already knew going to Kazakhstan. I had to win by knockout to win.
No, you only get a draw if it's a knockout. You get a draw if it's a knockout.
Right. Well, that's what we always say in amateurs. If you're not to lose out, they're going to wake them up and call it a draw. I fought Bebuit in Kazakhstan. He was dead tired. 11th round, I told my brother I was going to... No, I'm sorry. In the 11th round, he threw a shot and I slipped it, and he fell into the ropes. And I turned around and hit him, and the referee grabbed me and kept me from hitting him. I had him out. He was finna be gone. The referee grabbed me and wouldn't let me hit him. In the 12th round, he came out and headbutted me. It's on video on YouTube. He headbutted me, a legal headbutt. You look at the referee. I looked at the referee, and the referee said, "Jump on him." So that's what I dealt. That's what I dealt with my whole career. I got cheated and robbed my whole career.
Well, that's incredible, man. The thing that
it's on video. You can watch it. I don't have to make noise because everything I'm telling you is on video.
Yeah, that's what I like. I want everyone that's listening to this to, if
you've
got
watch. Right.
Yeah, it's all on YouTube to see. So go check this out because it is quite crazy. Yeah. It's all on video. You're then out the ring for almost 2 years before coming back against Ross Thompson. Indiana was the place where the fight took place. May 29th was the date. A split draw over 10. I'm guessing you probably thought you did enough there, Montell.
Man, of course I wanted to fight. I really was done boxing. My friends was like, "Man, you got 49 wins. You might as well get 50." I said, "Okay." I was like, "All right, I'll go for 50." So I was ready to go to the academy to be a Cook County sheriff. So I took the fight. I said, "I'm going to get my 50th win so I can retire and start working." And so I waited. The promoter said, "Hey, look, Ross called and said he might be a little bit overweight." I'm like, "All right." So I come in 178. Ross coming in 202. So the fight, the only reason I took the fight is because I was here, start the job. So I had to sign off on the fight. I had to come in at 188 the day of the fight. I put on all my clothes, got on the scale, and they was holding my hip so I could make 188. I went in there. Ross fought for 3 rounds. In the last 7 rounds, I boxed him, I pointed him, and they called it a draw. You know what I'm saying? Indiana, very racist. It's very racist in Indiana. They didn't want me. They knew I was fighting shoot for a goal, and they didn't let me attain it. So I ended up fighting again, get my 50th win against DeAndre Abraham. And I fought that. I beat him easy, and then I couldn't get no good offers to fight. So I never retired. I just never fought again.
Okay. I want to ask you this then, because obviously you retire there officially with 50 wins, 8 losses, most of them being questionable, and 1 draw. Did you ever kind of have the itch to come back? You say you didn't officially retire. Did you ever have the itch to come back at all?
Yeah, I say in what year is it? 16. I was gonna make a comeback. I was in the gym training. I was getting in good shape. Everything was cool. And I got suspended from my job, and there was so much going on at the time that I just said, "This must be God telling me to hang it up." So I just said, "Forget it now," and I just gave up boxing after that.
And I want to ask you a couple of quick, much quicker questions about little things to do with your career, Montell. Did you have any regrets? If you could go back and change something, have you got any regrets?
Well, this fighting, trying to be a good guy and give Roy Jones an opportunity to, give him a rematch, and then I get stabbed in the back and they don't let me warm up. So yeah, that's a huge regret. And I have proof. I have somebody from his camp told me they did it.
So see that fight there, was it in the contract that there was a rematch clause or not?
Well, no. What happened was because the fight ended in disqualification, and HBO had, gave Roy a new contract, so they wanted to make sure they got their money back, so they forced a rematch. And like a fool, I should have just gave the belt up. And fought Steve Collins. I was offered $2 million to fight Steve Collins in Ireland, but I ended up being a man, and I fought Roy and still got stabbed in the back.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I want to ask you, if there was anyone is there anyone that you'd have wished you got to fight but didn't get the chance to? I think that guy is probably going to be Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins, Virgil Hill, and Tommy Hearns. Those three guys who I would love to be on my resume. Virgil Hill retired with the most title defenses, so he's a Hall of Famer. We never got a chance to spar. We used to be in the gym together, but Eddie Futch would never let us spar. And Bernard Hopkins was a top light heavyweight, and I fought his pro debut on his card, so I wanted to fight him. And me and Tommy Hearns, the winner of me and Roy Jones, and Tommy Hearns and his opponent was supposed to fight. And so I hate that I never got a chance to fight Tommy.
And you mentioned Eddie Futch there. He's known, he goes down as one of the best trainers of all time. What was it like to work with a guy like that? In your opinion, is he the best trainer?
You know what? I have so much respect for Emmanuel Stewart for what he did with Kronk Jim and all his champions and all his fighters. But Eddie Futch, you know what I'm saying? Of course I'm going with my heart. Eddie Futch is probably the greatest trainer ever, but it's a lot of great Georgie Ben, Jesse Reed, there's been some Roger May. There's a lot of great trainers out here, but Eddie Futch, you know what I'm saying? Because of my heart, I'm gonna go Eddie Futch. He made me feel very comfortable. I felt all confident. I always felt like I felt confident because I always felt like they had the answer to any question that I had.
Yeah, brilliant trainer. They don't really make them like that anymore, to be completely honest with you, as I'm sure you know. I want to ask you this as well, Montell. You answered who the hardest hitter of your whole career was. It was Ray Lathon. Who was the best opponent, the best all-round fighter that you ever boxed?
I mean, technical-wise, I got to say James Toney, but just God-given talent, Roy Jones. He's the fastest man I've ever been in the ring with. I sparred Floyd Mayweather, and Roy was faster than him. He's the fastest man I've ever been in the ring with. I sparred bantamweights, I sparred all type of guys, and Roy Jones is the fastest guy I've ever seen in my life.
And you mentioned there you've sparred Floyd. I think you said you sparred 5 heavyweight world champions.
I sparred Floyd, I sparred Floyd when he was 140, and I was in shape for a fight. I was like 180. We sparred, and we went at it, and we just put on the boxing show. He couldn't hit me, I couldn't hit him.
Who's the best? Who's the best fighter you've ever sparred? Who sticks out? Because you've sparred so many guys.
I sparred Mike McCallum. I sparred Floyd Mayweather. I sparred Murphy Sosa, Reggie Johnson. I sparred everybody, man. Mike McCallum, he's a Hall of Famer, so I guess he probably was the best fighter I sparred. But I got in the ring with everybody. I wasn't never scared of nothing.
And of course, during your career, you boxed, in various states in the US. You travelled to Ireland. You travelled to the UK, Germany, China, Kazakhstan. Where was the best travelling experience? Where were you best treated?
Oh, Kazakhstan. That's probably the best I've been treated outside America. They showed me so much love, so much respect before and after the fight. Even after the fight, they showed me mad love. Barcelona probably was my favorite place to go to, in the Olympics. So, yeah, Kazakhstan showed me more love than any country I've ever been to in my life.
Oh, that's cool, man. And coming down to the last couple of questions, I want to ask, what are you up to nowadays? What's keeping you busy? We're going to get on to in a sec. Obviously, you've brought a book out. But other than the book for a moment, what are you up to these days, Montell? What keeps you busy?
Well, I was a Cook County sheriff here in Chicago since 2010. I got suspended 4 years ago for defending myself, and I ended up buying the gym. And so the gym will be open in 3 years in December, and things is coming together. I got After School Matters. I have nonprofit, the Windy City Youth Boxing Foundation, and I also have youth classes here in my gym. This will be my 3rd year. I'm doing very, very well. And obviously I'm waiting for my lawsuit with my job, and I'm just waiting for the gym to get bigger. And I dropped a book about my life, The Ice Life. It's about, being, growing up, hanging around Muhammad Ali, going to his camps, being around him all the time. I spent with Riddick Bowe, Leonard Lewis, just I had a great life, man. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm not the best fighter ever, and I don't have the best life ever, but I just feel that my story is a great story, to hear. I was a kid who quit at 12 years old, took off 8 years, and I made the Olympic team in a year and a half with only 30 fights. And then I turned pro at 14 fights later. I beat Toney. So I just think it's a very great story about not quitting, getting a second chance in life. And I just think it's a great book. My link is theicelifebook.com. Theicelifebook.com. That's my link to buy the book. And it's just a great read. And I just hope all the people in the UK get a chance to check it out.
Yeah, so once again, that is The Ice Life. As you give the website there, just give me that once again, Montell.
Theicelifebook.com.
Okay, theicelifebook.com. Yeah, theicelifebook.com. Obviously, for people that enjoyed this interview, this is just the bite size of what you're going to get in that book.
It's a crazy story.
So they can get it. Is it a thing where they buy it and it gets shipped, or do you buy it online? You can read straight away.
On my link, theicelifebook.com is the link where you can order the book and they just ship it to you all over the world.
Okay, excellent. So worldwide shipping. Check that out, theicelifebook.com. I want to ask you also, Montell, you mentioned there you've had a great life. Your boxing career was full of ups and downs. Are you a happy man these days?
Man, I'm 50 years old, man. I'm at peace with myself. My life is great. I got 4 beautiful kids. I got a great wife. I got my gym. And everything is beautiful. I can't complain.
Okay. And also in the book, I want to ask you this as well. Again, I'm sure you're going to, really dive deep into the boxing career. Do you talk about your time as a sheriff in the book as well?
A little bit. Not too much because it's negative and they dirty. And I ain't trying to get them too much respect. I just wanted them to know what happened. I was defending myself, and they suspended me without no pay. But I was a world champion and Olympian. They put me in the max division with all murderers who knew who I was, and they threatened me every day. I got threatened every day. I went to work. So this is another crazy situation I had to deal with.
Wow, man. Yeah, definitely go buy that book, people. And just the final real question for you now, Montell. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit at the end here. We like to ask this question to everyone that we speak to from overseas. If I ask you the question, who's your favourite UK fighter of all time? Who springs to mind? Any era?
Oh, I got to say Lennox Lewis. Me and Lennox Lewis, we went to camp together. We had the same promoter. We fought in the same cars together. So, of course, Lennox Lewis. He's my buddy. Every time I see him, we laugh and joke and talk. So I got mad respect for him.
Okay, yeah, that's a very popular answer. A lot of people say that. And just finally, Montell, before we let you go, my friend, we've gone over your career. We've spoke about the book. If you've got any closing words just to sign out with before we let you go, of course, you don't always get to speak to your supporters here in the UK. What's your final closing message if you have one?
Man, I just want to let everybody know, man, that I gave it my all. I always tried my best. I respected the sport. I never brought a black eye to the sport. And, I just want people to know how much I love the sport and how much, how hard I worked to try to be the best I could be. You know what I'm saying? Everything didn't always work out, but I gave my all.
Yeah, very well said. But listen, Montell, it's been an absolute honour and a privilege to speak with you this week and walk down memory lane with you. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you, and I hope we can speak again soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Anytime you want to interview, give me a call.
Okay, and this wraps up episode 249 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. A massive thank you to my sole guest on this week's show, the former WBC Light-Heavyweight World Champion, Mr. Montell Griffin. I do want to apologise once again for the echo issue during the interview. Please let me know if it was listenable. Of course, the biggest thanks of all goes out to you, the listeners. You make this show what it is. I hope I haven't let anyone down with the poor audio. I do apologise. Again, if you're interested in buying Montell Griffin's book, you can head to www.theicelifebook.com. Worldwide shipping. You can purchase it again at that website there, the icelifebook.com. Really, really interesting book. But please enjoy your weekends, people. Stay safe. I wish you all the best this weekend, and we shall see you all again next week.